Welcome back. You're on your Feel Good Breakfast show. And this morning, I did tell you that we would be having a relationship conversation. And it is all about helping out one of our Expresso family members. And this morning, my friend, it is one that has to do with cheating, unfortunately. But let's hear the story from Anonymous. Listen to this.
Hey, good morning. I have a situation. I just caught out my husband cheating, and he tried for us to fix things. I'm trying to fix things, but my challenge is that I can't let go of my thoughts that he's still cheating, and there's no communication. Actually, the relationship is no longer the same. Trusting issues are there. So I don't know what to do, but what I've been thinking is for me to move away from him. Can you help me on that? The other thing is that I still love him. So I'm afraid that I can decide while I'm still angry and make wrong decisions.
So unfortunately, what happened is that Anonymous found their husband cheating. But the thing is that yes, they're trying to fix the relationship, but she can't get the thought out of her head. And she does say that the relationship has changed. And for her, it really doesn't feel the same anymore. However, she doesn't want to make any decisions while she has these high emotions going on. So this is why this morning we've brought in somebody who is an author as well as a counselor who has specialized in marriage counseling along with family counseling, rather. And honestly, I do believe that he is going to let us in on what it is that Anonymous could possibly do to kind of, just maybe navigate this the best way possible. And don't forget, you can also come through 063-408-8863. It is Don E. Don joining us today on your Feel Good Breakfast show. Let's give him a feel good welcome, everybody. Don, how are you?
I'm fine, and you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming through. And the reason I'm amazing is because you're here to help Anonymous, which is incredible. So we heard her story, but I want to ask you, how can Anonymous work through these feelings that she's kind of feeling at the moment, from the hurt, the anger, and all of those thoughts that are going on in her head?
You see, the main thing about life is that life is about purpose and fulfillment. Now, I would like the Anonymous to ask herself, why did she marry this person in the first place? Because when you understand purpose, you understand what you can fight for and what you cannot fight for. Now, if she married this person because of love, and this is love she can hardly find out there, then it's worth fighting for.
Yeah.
And is it something that is going to give her fulfillment? Because you see, sometimes we make decisions based on the challenges we're facing, forgetting that, there is a future out there. Now, you see, when there is marriage, there is room for forgiveness.
Yes.
So if she believes that this is the man for her, and she has been happy, now this man has done this, especially if it's the first time. And the man is sorry. He's very remorseful.
Yeah.
He's ready to change. And she's also fulfilled in the relationship. She can find a way to work things out.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want her to live life in regret. She just gets angry, she steps out there, and then nothing as good as this.
Yeah.
So I think it's always worth giving it a shot.
Yeah, and especially because she does love him still.
That is the main reason.
Yes. So then I want to please ask you, is it possible to actually rebuild trust after infidelity? And, what steps would you take if you are somebody who's then trying to do exactly that?
Yeah, I think the major challenge with infidelity is rebuilding trust. Because you see, you can work out the healing on your own.
Yeah.
You can be able to overcome the trauma on your own. But to rebuild trust, you need the engagement of the other person.
Yes.
So I think it begins with a sincere apology, where a person really, really is sorry.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that in my practice I say to people, I say to those who cheat, put yourself in your partner's position.
Yes.
If you were in your partner's position and your partner was cheating on you, how will you feel? And most times they say, oh man, I'll be crazy. I'll be doing that. I tell them that's the same way your partner feels.
Yes.
So you need to now understand from that perspective, how do you engage? So when a person understands, now the person can sincerely apologize and make a decision to change, to stop that. And then with that, they can begin to work together. And I would like to mention this. I believe for every cheating, there should be some compensation.
Yes.
For the person who's been cheated on, in a way that that person should be able to receive more love, more attention than before, because we are humans. When you see the gain from the pain, you can easily forget the pain.
Yeah.
But if there is no gain from the pain, I mean, it's like you've wasted your time.
Yes, what was it all for then? Yeah.
So if both of them can sit down, come to an agreement on this won't happen again, and then how do we work this out?
Yeah.
It can be worked out. I've helped many of my clients do that. And you know, 80% of counseling is about cheating.
Yo, I did not know that, Don. So I thank you for that statistic. However, with that being said, you know, because she's in two minds at the moment, how can Anonymous best, you know, kind of balance this lingering love that she has for her husband, but also trying to make a logical decision about whether or not, you know, this is something that is worth fighting for?
I think the first step here is for both of them to go for counseling.
I agree with that. I would also say so.
Because, you see, that's an environment where she can make, you know, the right decision. And the partner can be able to see things from her perspective.
Yes.
You know, so if they can go for counseling, they can talk about this and they can reach an agreement on how to practically work things out together. You know, because now I think one of the major challenges here is that fear of, will it happen again? You know, that insecurity.
Yes.
Those are the things that really affect people when they're being cheated on. But they can work it out through counseling, through guidance, you know, and some certain agreement. And you see, I say to people, every marriage should have a vision and a constitution. And that's what we help our clients to form. Because vision is, where is the marriage going?
Yes.
And it helps two people to work together towards a common goal. The constitution are simply the practices within the marriage. Both of them need to agree. You know, I like a passage in the Bible that says, can two work together except they agree? He said no. So they have to come to agreement.
We have to be on the same page. Don, you're incredible. Thank you so much, Dr. Love. We appreciate you coming and sharing your expertise. And hopefully this is something that can help Anonymous out. Remember, you can send through your comments at 063-408-8863. However, with that being said, Graham and Ewan, what are you guys thinking? You know, in terms of this terrible, terrible thing that has happened, you know, where do you think Anonymous should go from here, in your own opinion?
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
It's still on your Feel Good Breakfast show right here on S3. And my lovely, today we're helping out one of our Expresso family members who sent through a voice note for Relationship Tuesday. And it unfortunately is about how her husband did cheat on her. However, she's somebody who still loves him. She still has that thing for him, and she honestly does feel like the relationship has changed, but she doesn't know how to navigate this. And she did say as well that her emotions are high at the moment, so she doesn't want to make any illogical decisions. But this is why we have got in the building with us a counselor and an author named Don, who is helping us out in terms of trying to navigate this the best way for Anonymous. So, Don, we've got a couple of people who did come through, actually, and thank you so much for that, Expresso family. Let's start with you, Maralisa Yosta, who says, if you really want to, you can make it work. Take a little break from each other first and see how that goes, and then you can make a decision with a clearer mind. But I remember something I once read about how people that cheat, if they do it once, they can do it again. Not to say that this will be the case in your relationship. Stay strong and remember to love yourself first. Beautiful, Maralise. Kim Michelle Hazel Baki says, it's difficult, but only you can make it work. There is no advice that I can give, but to pray about it before making any decision. Now, this is why we always like to ask the professionals, the people who have dealt with many, many different stories just like this one. And Don, I actually want to ask you about what Maralise said, which was taking some time apart with someone, you know, that you said you found 80% of marriage counseling is mostly about cheating. Is it always the case that you should possibly take some time apart after infidelity happens?
Not normally the case. I mean, some people do.
Okay.
It depends on your ability to handle the hurt and the trauma.
Okay.
Now, you see, the environment you are in should be able to help you. Now, if you are still staying with your partner and you feel that environment at that time won't help you to be healed and to move forward, then, you can find an environment that helps you. It's about you getting the healing
Yes.
and overcoming the trauma. But now, the most important thing, like I said, is rebuilding that trust. And you see, in order to rebuild the trust, you will need the support of your partner.
Yeah.
You will need your partner to be there to affirm you, to, speak to you, to be able to help you. Like I said, compensate you somehow with the support, with the help here and there. So sometimes it's helpful if you're working together, being in the same space where you are getting that nourishment of help to be able to move forward.
Yes. And for me, I also know that, a lot of the time, just speaking of community, is that a lot of people will say, whenever something happens with you and your partner, like, don't go tell your loved ones, because they're like, you can forgive, but they don't sometimes. And it sometimes ruins those relationships. What do you have to say about that, especially in such a terrible situation where there's now been infidelity?
Yeah, I'm thinking that the major thing here is the response of the person who cheated. How is the person reacting to this?
Okay.
Because if the person is very remorseful and, somebody who is repentant and sees it as a mistake and is ready to make amends to move forward, you need to consider that part.
Yes.
Now, if the person is stubborn and feels like, I've done nothing wrong, you cause it, because of this and that. Because some people like pushing the blame, to say, yeah, because you didn't do this. I say to people, listen, once you bring in cheating to a fight, even if you had a fight, it's like bringing in a knife into a fist fight.
Yeah.
Whatever fight you had with your partner is like a fist fight. Now you bring in a knife, you stab somebody, you create a wound. It will have a scar. That wound cannot be forgotten. So if the person is willing to work things out, it's better both of you work it out yourselves with a marriage counselor. And like we've helped a lot of people overcome and rebuild trust. So it can be worked out, both of you together, and then you see how it goes before, you spread the news here and there. It could be something that can turn out for good. Because sometimes experience is not the best teacher, but it can be a good teacher.
I like that. And also, speaking of the wound, there's always that particular place where you need to kind of look after yourself as well.
Good.
When you're in such a place of, being a little bit vulnerable and hurt. How can Anonymous best look after herself in this situation?
Okay, in this kind of situation, personally, we do individual counseling and couples counseling. So the Anonymous will have to have an individual session.
Yes.
Where she is being counseled on how to get the healing and how to overcome her trauma and how to be able to move forward. You see, mostly in life, it's about perspective.
Yeah.
How you see a thing, how you view a matter really matters. Now, like I said before, if this relationship began with love, then it can pull through.
Yeah.
Because love never dies like that. You see, one way or the other. Now, but if it did not, like I've written in my first book, I titled, Why Should I Get Married?
Yeah.
I speak about 4 main reasons people marry. 3 of those reasons are not right.
Sure.
And people just marry, and that's why it doesn't last. For instance, like marrying because of physical looks. I say to people, that's like buying a product from the shop because of the packaging, without considering the content. It's the content that will satisfy.
Are there people who do that? No.
People do that. They say she's very hot. She's very, he's cute, and only to discover how soon the hotness becomes cold.
And it does, especially with age, yes.
Yeah, so those are not things that will sustain. What sustains is the character of that person, how you interact. And I always advise people, check the compatibility. Marrying love without compatibility is like buying a beautiful shoe that is not your size.
Sure.
It's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt you so bad. It happened to me the other day, yes.
Okay. So those are the experiences we have, So now this person needs to check, why did I marry? If it's love, you can fight together.
Yeah.
You can work it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Don, you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier on in terms of someone who has fears because of their partner having cheated on them.
Yeah.
What are some of the fears that someone like Anonymous might be experiencing, and how would she best navigate that?
Yeah, the main fear has to do with insecurity. Where is he going? What's happening? Who's calling? What SMS is there?
Yes.
And like I'm saying, it's going to really be about the partner.
Yeah.
How can the partner show loyalty? How can the partner, show that support, show that I have really changed? A lot of people say, no, I've tried. She has to deal with her insecurities. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You caused this. So you have to work with her to overcome this.
Yes.
You have to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
In first instance, even if you have to do live location, where you are, all of that, whatever you need to do, you need to do it. Yeah, to be able to help her overcome this.
Yes.
And in the long run, things can get back to normal.
Yes.
But I really believe that love is worth fighting. I believe in love.
No, that's so beautiful. And especially as a marriage counselor, I mean, I think you've probably seen best the fruits of what can come from love and why it is actually indeed worth fighting for.
Yeah.
So that's incredible.
Yeah.
So in terms of Anonymous right now, and us even trying to be the ones who are reassuring her, it's all going to be okay, right?
It will be okay.
Yes.
But go for counseling. Let's start right there.
Yes.
And then you can build up going forward.
I love that.
Yeah.
And having a mediator there always allows everyone to both be heard, but also, even where things are getting lost in translation, where it can sometimes, be brought together.
That's true. And you see, a mediator, a good counselor will be able to show both of you the right perspective.
Yes.
I've found clients who come in. I mean, the man did something. He didn't see anything wrong with it until I was able to show him a different perspective.
Yes.
And for the first time, he apologized to his wife. I didn't even tell him to do it. And the wife was shocked, like, what? He said, no, I didn't see it this way.
You
I
guys
didn't understand.
have superpowers. You do.
I didn't see it this way. And one of the things I will say to people is, you see, a lot of times we do things out of selfishness.
Yes.
I say the greatest enemy of love is selfishness.
The selfishness, yeah.
When once you're thinking about yourself. That's why people feel like, oh, when we started first, it was so nice, and now it's getting, this way. It's because when you started first, you were focusing on each other.
Yes.
Not on yourselves. But along the way, people now look at themselves. It's about me. It's about me.
Whereas it's not, it's about us.
It's about us.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Don. You're incredible. And of course, Anonymous, you are supported by both the likes of the Don in front of us, as well as your Expresso family. And thank you so much for sharing with us. And I hope that it has indeed been something that is fruitful in terms of some advice that will help you through this time. And like Don said, it is going to be okay. Right about now, though, Cape Town family, what's going on?